We're about to embark on an amazing adventure.
This is the best life.
We are probably at about 7,000 feet. This is a totally different view of Pikes Peak that we've never seen before. Very awesome and majestic looking. We're actually on our way up. It's going to be about 8,000 feet where we're going to park on some BLM land and kind of camp out for a little while the world around us goes insane.
My friend said
can't
you
do
can
a
still
fire
bike.
truck.
Where's the bear? Oh, she's hiking out in the sun. The sun is cold. Oh, look, there's a truck ahead on the road.
Oh yeah, I see somebody camped over here. Look at this, you guys.
Daddy, just fly down so we can go that one spot.
Bumpy.
Don't push on it, you'll die. You're right. And I'll have to open it up. And then everything. Be careful. Alright, so we're up in the mountains, and me, Ashton, and Isaiah got all these rocks here and built the fireplace. And then Kira helped get some wood. And then we all got twigs and stuff, and now built a fire.
So we are kind of in between jobs right now, and of course with all the things that are going on in the world today, we decided to just kind of get away quite a few miles out. Actually, we got off the main road and went down a bunch of dirt roads and found this really nice spot, right up against this pretty cool looking rocky mountain, which we might go and explore later on. We put out a thing on YouTube and Facebook just asking people to send us questions if there's any bus life related questions you guys had. Many of you guys responded, and so I thought I'd just start addressing a couple of those. Which is the most important thing to do first, solar or having a generator? We have our generator in here, it's running, and as you can see, it's very overcast. Now we do have like a portable solar panel that will pull out when the sun is good, but I would definitely say, to answer that question, if it was me, I'd want to have a generator first, because a generator will produce power, whether it's rain, snow, sleet, or hail, where solar panels, you're a little bit limited depending just on the weather. So that would be my answer for that. I would definitely go with the generator first.
This is good.
What do you think, Ashton? You think we should go?
Yeah, I think so.
Go where?
Up the mountain?
Yeah, it's fun in the mountains. But the only thing, don't get eaten by a bear or a mountain lion.
Yes, don't get eaten by a bear or a mountain lion. Woo! So it's kind of a windy, cool day out. It's about 40 degrees.
But the sun is peaking, and I think we're supposed to get some kind of snowstorm later on.
Yeah, look at this. All snuggled in there.
I think it's nice out here. Is this?
And we are off. in this really cool location here. And we just want to talk real briefly with you guys about the whole coronavirus thing. You know, I think from the beginning of this whole thing, when the reports started coming out, I don't think we've really worried about it once.
No.
I mean, we're aware of it. We're not, we're being careful, but we're not worried about
I
it.
think from what we've researched that it's not too extreme and that it's nothing really to fear.
You want to go see Arwen? Hey, Zaya, you want to grab Enya? We've just looked at some statistics, and this is all available on the CDC website, where you can look at past either pandemics or just regular flu seasons. And that's one thing we've actually done. And I don't know if most people are aware, but in a given flu season, there will be up to 60,000 people. I think 80,000 one year, if I'm not mistaken. But 60,000 people will die each year in this country alone from the flu. It's always terrible to have loss of life, but when you compare it to an average flu season, you kind of start going, wait a second, what is this major overreaction, it seems anyway, about?
We definitely don't want to have fear, and fear can really build up inside of you. When that fear is manipulated, especially by the media or by, media loves headlines. When they have a headline, they like to manipulate our fear, and actually a lot of freedoms are being taken away. Even
just fundamental rights, like the right to assemble has now been taken away. And they say there's a virus, and then everybody freaks out, and then they start saying, well, you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do that, and everyone just follows what they're basically saying. But just an encouragement to those of you out there, we're gonna all get through this. It's gonna be fine, and I think when you watch the media, you would think by what is being said that this is as bad as like the bubonic plague. The bubonic plague wiped out a third of the population in Europe in the 1600s. I mean, it was millions of people. We haven't even begun to scratch the surface of that. We haven't even begun to scratch the surface of just a normal flu season in this country. We haven't even scratched the surface of how many people die each year from car accidents.
True.
And we're not outlawing cars. We're not quarantining people from cars. Yeah, Tom Hanks had this thing, and his wife, and both of them, they've recovered within 2 weeks. Rand Paul had it, no symptoms whatsoever. Some people get this, they experience no symptoms or mild symptoms or severe symptoms, and this affects the elderly the worst. And you young people that are out there going to the store and hoarding toilet paper, if you're healthy, you don't have underlying conditions, you're young, you're below the age of really 65, you're probably going to be totally unfazed. You're probably going to be fine. Be at peace.
Please be at peace. And actually, a good idea is spend time with your family. Not a lot of people get to have time off like this, and take this opportunity to spend time with your children. Don't just sit on your phone all day.
Get out and go hiking. Go do something fun.
And it's actually good for you because you need the vitamin D and the fresh air.
So this spot kind of reminds me, for those of you who are Lord of the Ring fans, that area where the spies of Saruman were coming and they're all hiding under the rocks.
What is that? It's just a wisp of cloud.
It's moving fast against the wind.
Coronavirus! Hide!
Coronavirus. The beaches south are being closed. We'll have to climb the mountain.
So one of the questions we received was how we deal with cabin fever. And I think that a lot of people assume because we live in a very small space that, you know, we're just stuck in this small confined space all the time and we get to a point of just going crazy and we got to get out of, you know, we kind of see the bus as a place to eat and sleep, you know, spend time together in the evenings, but during the day we're many times out and about doing different things like what we're doing right now. The kids have found something.
There's bones leading way over there too.
Oh yeah.
So what do we have here?
Bones.
From a
Dinosaur
dinosaur.
bones.
Dinosaur bones.
Looks like a baby
Do not
raptor.
touch it.
We're standing on the precipice of eternity, looking at what our future holds.
I would say it's a deer. Me
Yeah.
too.
What'd you find?
Looks like some type of rock. I'll take it as a souvenir. I'm taking these.
Oh.
the tree.
Anthill.
Wow.
Where?
Don't disturb their home, guys, because they work hard to build that mound.
Another way we cope with cabin fever is keeping our environment clean.
Yeah,
Less
I'd say
stressful
everybody
and-
works together to
Yeah.
keep the bus tidy and clean, and especially Ashton, actually. Can you see? So, like, everyone in our bus likes to help and pitch in with cleaning, except for Elisha.
And Kira. Elisha,
No,
Kira.
Kira does a good job. But Ashton, like, he can't even go to bed if the bus is a little bit untidy. He has all the counters cleared off and everything nice and clean before he goes to bed. And when your environment's clean, you don't feel like, oh, I have to get out of the bus.
Quite the view.
Wow. One obstacle is, of course, you know, been told we need to stock up a month worth of food. Our bus doesn't hold a month's worth of food. You know, we can probably go for what, 10 days, you think?
Yeah, maybe.
But the thing is, they haven't closed down grocery stores, and you know, the thing that we're actually having a hard time doing right now is finding toilet paper. Seems like all this hoarding has made it difficult for people that aren't hoarding. The other thing is, you know, a lot of people can't afford to stockpile a month worth of food. You know, that they live paycheck to paycheck, and we need to consider that in this economy. Is many people just started their jobs and they haven't accumulated sick days or time off, and you know, or some people are working part-time jobs and this is really, really hurting them. And I met a guy actually 2 weeks ago that he's taking care of his elderly mother, and he can barely make ends meet. They're suffering because they don't have the funds to be able to take care of the elderly. So, you know, we're causing a bigger problem than we know. And I say the best thing right now is to get this economy back up and going, and employers to call their employees and tell them, hey, your job's still here, if that's even possible after all this downtime.
So for those of you who haven't been ever at really high altitudes, it's hard to imagine what it's like because there's so much less oxygen. So, you know, in movies where you see them, you know, hiking up to Everest and you're about to die on the way and you're kind of like, what's the big deal? Where we're at right now, I mean, just this little bit of walking, we're not running up these hills, we're just kind of walking. It's like you are out of breath without even really exerting yourself that much.
Sage. It's growing all on the ground.
Let me smell.
So some of you guys have asked about our sleeping arrangements, and Kira's going to share about that. So Kira, do you guys have to share a bunk?
No. Arwen sleeps on the front on the sofa. Zaya sleeps on the top bunk. Ashton sleeps on the other top bunk. Elisha and Ethan are asleep in the middle of the bunks. Me and Seth get the bottom bunks behind our mom and dad's bed. Enya's bed is there, so she sleeps there. And then our mom and dad and Erebus share one bed.
What we're planning on doing eventually is putting a drop-down bed over the driver's seat. But actually we have one more bed still available, which is the sofa on the other side. Those are full-size beds, really. And Arwen actually really likes sleeping there because it's right by the fireplace. So in the winter time, it's the warmest place.
I want to move to the other sofa next to Arwen.
And Enya will get Kira's old bed, won't you? And then Aravis will get Enya's old bed. So we're good for a while.
All right, well, let's make it up to the top and then make our way back down.
All right, guys, so we are almost to the top of the mountain, and I think we're gonna head back. I think there's gonna be some snow coming, but man, this is really cool around here. Let's look at this back here. Whoa. So some of us boys have ventured up a little bit further. Julie stayed down a little ways. She's down somewhere down there. Well,
The animal carried the bird up the hill.
all right, guys, I think we need to head down.
Wait, we didn't fall here.
Whoa.
Huh? We didn't even fall this way.
Maybe there's feathers just everywhere. We're back at base camp here. So one of the questions we received was, how do we live a life of praise and worship while living a, nomadic bus life? Worship really is defined by what we devote our lives to on a daily basis.
Living a life of worship?
Living a life of worship. So many believers, they associate worship and serving God as going to church on a Sunday morning or a Wednesday evening, and then that's it. That's their duty. But we really, in our lives, we try to live a life of worship every single day, where He is the focus every day of our life, and we're doing things for the Lord every day, looking for opportunities to share Him with others, gathering with other believers sometimes daily. That's really what it's all about.
I think also living a life of worship through deed. What do we do on a day-to-day basis when no one's looking? How are we living a life of worship? Just singing a song may feel like worship, but if you go home and leave a church service and then the rest of the week you're living just like anybody else that doesn't know Jesus, that it's not really living a life that's pleasing to God.
And we love music. I'm a songwriter. We do music together at different events. One of the things that challenged us a couple years ago, these signs will follow those who believe. Not only are we going to be telling people about Jesus, but we're going to be casting out demons. We're going to be healing the sick. Guys, I'm here with Jim right now.
He just helped me and prayed for me.
Jim,
I can lift it. I can lift it and I can cross it over, which I haven't been able to do since January.
Could you pray for my shoulder? And they prayed, and Julie played actually, and felt it get warm, like close to the pain of the shoulder, and kind of encompassing it. I was like, and at that point I was like, hey, this is a little bit weird here. Something's actually happening. Yeah. I could move it, lift it up with TV, and then I was like, okay, so is this actually real? So when I came back in, I was behind the counter, I was like, let me do some push-ups, because this is when the shoulder hurts. pumped out 25 push-ups, and I'm like, wow, these guys are the real deal. Yeah. All those people, like, if you're like me, I grew up Christian, my parents are deacons, I'm a member of a church, I believe in God, but I just need to do better while I'm here.
Baptizing people. Die with Christ, yeah.
She's believed those lies.
Over the last 3 years, we've seen that a lot in our lives and in our ministry, and so many times we're relying on a person to walk out our Christian life for us. It could be a Christian leader, and you know, it says very clearly in Scripture that the gifts that different people have, teachers or prophets or different things like that, the gifts they have were to equip us to do works of service for the church, to be sent out and to go out and do things for the Lord. And that's what we love doing, and we see some just crazy, amazing things. We're always looking for opportunities to pray for somebody who's sick, or, you know, speak truth to somebody, as opposed to just, you know, hey, come to my church on Sunday. That personal connection with you to someone else is going to be the most powerful thing. The Bible says you'll know a tree by its fruit. You'll know the tree is bad if the fruit's bad, and you know the tree is good if the fruit's good. And the Lord is looking at you and looking through the leaves, and He's looking for the fruit. He looks at those trees that have no fruit, and those are cut down and thrown into the fire.
So you may appear to be a healthy tree with lots of leaves, but no fruit. So if you're struggling with depression, or even having a hard time shaking addiction, that you don't have to be a slave to that addiction, that God really wants to set you free from those things. It really starts with, do you love your sin? Do you love your addiction? Do you really want to be free? And then the other thing is calling on the Lord, calling on Jesus. Jesus, I'm sick of the way I'm sick of my depression. I'm sick of feeling this way. I'm sick of being a slave to, you know, whatever your addiction is. And God, please come and set me free. You have to hate your sin. You have to hate the thing that is drawing you down. You have to hate the way that you think. Yeah. You know, if it's depression, a lot of that is the way we think. We get in a habit of thinking negative thoughts, and you have to renew your mind and change it.
Yeah. And we've seen so many times that, like, the people that really hate their sin, that they really want to be free, God sets them free. And then we've got other people that they're just continually bound because actually they love their sin. And that's why they're not free. All right, let's continue down the mountain. Yeah. Look at this view. It's amazing.
I was just thinking of how we build mountains in our life, mountains of fear of death. And, you know, God said if we have faith, we can move a mountain. So many of us have mountains in our lives that need to be moved. And it's really just one step at a time, like getting down from this mountain right now.
One careful step at a time.
Wow, I can't believe we were up there.
I know, like, where were we? I mean, we were like near the top.
Yeah. Oh, that's that rock you were standing on.
Oh yeah.
Kind of to the right there.
Oh, I think that's the one you were sitting on over there, Isaiah.
Oh yeah. So another question we have is, where do we keep our clothing? We have drawers that are about 24 by 24 inches and also are 8 inches deep. So we each have a drawer about that big, and we just keep as many clothes as we can in there. So we are limited to the amount of clothing that we can buy. But if someone like Arwen wants to keep buying clothes like she always does, and she has to get rid of some, get new clothing, get rid of some, get new clothing. And yeah, she does that a lot.
Arwen! Oh! Yes, Arwen is always shopping and continuing to buy. We usually try to buy high quality clothes because we like to pass them down to the younger kids when they grow out of them. And Arwen and I share a lot of our clothes. So that jacket she's wearing is actually mine, and I'm wearing her jacket. And yeah. I have a policy. I don't buy something unless I really love it. You know, a lot of the time people will go and just buy things because it's on sale, and they're like, oh, this is such a good deal, but then they don't really like it, or it doesn't quite fit them properly. And so yeah, that's kind of my motto. Don't buy it unless you love it. Actually, I have things that I've been wearing for 7 years. I'm sure many of you have noticed in our vlogs, if you binge watch them, that I have like the same clothes for like 4 years.
Well, I have to say that was a very fun day. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and don't forget to hit that bell so you get notifications when we post a video. And until next time, guys, be safe and God bless. Bye.